let's talk about NFL Week 8. There are 8 things I find noteworthy that I want to talk about. Number one is this. The Jets and their quarterback, Mike White. Mike White! What? I think there's literally a video of me out there saying, I haven't watched it, although I got a lot of comments on it, so it came to my attention. I made a video once called Don't Draft Mike White. I should revisit that video maybe next episode and talk about like what did I say and what happened. I don't remember what I said. It was 2018, years ago. He was like a late round pick. I think it was a 5th round pick. I think I remember that. The Jets beat the Bengals 34-31 on Sunday. It was a surprising win. It was also an impressive win, in my opinion. And the craziest thing here was that Jets backup quarterback Mike White, by the way, in his first ever NFL start, Mike White was 37 for 45 passing. He threw for 405 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And by the way, the 2 interceptions he threw were like tipped passes. They weren't even him making a bad decision. They were just kind of looked like bad luck. And the biggest reason why Mike White did so well against Cincinnati in this game is that Mike White took what the defense gave him. He was not forcing anything vertically. He's like, hey, the whole, my coach said it to me early on in my career. You can't go broke taking a profit. Take it and take it, take the easy completion until they don't give it to you anymore. And the entire game, basically, Mike White said, I take easy completion after easy completion. Literally his longest completion on the day was 18 yards. It's not like Mike White was pushing the ball vertically. He was just making smart decisions. And sometimes the, quote, boring play is actually the best play at the quarterback position. And, man, this was such a fun win for the Jets. I really like what New York is doing. I find myself rooting for the Jets. I think you could argue that right now it would be better to be a Jets fan than a Giants fan. Like the Jets, I think, have their coach, their GM, maybe their quarterback. The Giants have a bunch of uncertainties that the Jets do not have right now. And I really want to see the Jets turn around their franchise. I really believe they're doing the right things. I love Robert Saleh. I think he's fantastic. The Jets play again on Thursday Night Football this week. Like, tonight is Tuesday night, so you'll hear this Wednesday morning. So tomorrow, Thursday, the Jets play again. They play the Colts on Thursday Night Football. I'm very, very interested if Mike White can keep it up. We'll find out. It'll be very exciting to me to see that. What happens if Mike White plays great again and the Jets win again? Then what happened? The Jets just spent a number 2 overall pick on a quarterback, Zach Wilson. I would imagine that's a secure position because the world is unfair. And, if you pay a guy a ton of money or you spend a high draft pick on him, you pick him. Like I thought that you could argue that Ryan Fitzpatrick should have been the quarterback long-term in Miami, but they've spent a number 5 overall pick on Tua. They were going to stick with Tua, whether that made sense or not. Like, I don't know that there's anything Mike White can do to actually take Zach Wilson's job, but it is a bit uncomfortable to go, Like, what I saw from Mike White on Sunday is what I've kind of been hoping Zach Wilson would do all year, and we haven't seen that from Zach Wilson. We just saw that from Mike White? What? Okay. Also, I want to give credit to, I know the Jets gave up 31 points. So their defense, like, it's very rare that a defense gives up 31 points and you go, hey, great performance. But I actually thought that the defense does deserve credit for the way they played against Cincinnati. I stutter my way. Cincinnati got stopped multiple times on the goal line by the Jets. I mean, the Jets defense had a bunch of key stops. I thought they tipped a pass with 4 minutes left. That secured, they picked off Joe Burrow there. The Jets defense had, despite giving up 31 points in this game, it's not like the Bengals didn't have opportunities here to win the game. I mean, the Bengals had the ball on the goal line twice. Once they got stopped on 4th and goal, once they had to settle for a field goal. The Bengals had the ball last, and the Bengals had an opportunity to go win the game, and they could not. So I really think that the unsung hero, Mike White's going to get all the praise from this football game, deservedly so. Like, it was impressive, it was surprising, but also, don't forget the Jets defense, I thought, played very, very well against Cincinnati during NFL Week 8. Okay, number 2, on Sunday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings lost to The Dallas Cowboys 20-16. Oh my. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott did not play. He was out hurt. So they had Cooper Rush, their backup quarterback, start instead. And the Vikings, like, man, this is a game you got to win. You're playing the Cowboys backup quarterback. It's a golden opportunity to win a game on national TV. And instead what we saw was, remember the Jets. The Minnesota Vikings are 3-3 going into this game. They started 1-3. They're trying to save their season. They're playing a backup quarterback. I don't know how Minnesota could lose that football game, and they did. And they didn't just lose. Cooper Rush threw for 325 yards. Kirk Cousins, the Vikings' expensive quarterback, had 184 yards passing. I thought Kirk kind of got shown up by a backup quarterback on national TV. That's embarrassing. That's bad. It was terrible. I get it. The Cowboys pass rush gave Kirk Cousins all kind of problems all game. Like, I really thought the Cowboys played great on defense, but like the Vikings are still 3-4 at the end of the day, losing to a backup quarterback. And it's looking more and more like both the coach, Mike Zimmer, and the quarterback, Kirk Cousins, are kind of done in Minnesota. I don't know if they can get rid of Kirk based on the money they owe him, but I if I'm a Vikings fan, I know Kirk has not been awful this year, but he continues to lose in key important moments. And I just know that when the Vikings brought in Kirk Cousins they gave him a massive contract, fully guaranteed. They've been waiting and waiting in Minnesota for that to pay off. And it hasn't. I mean, they're just not. They were hoping Kirk was going to put them over the top and make them a Super Bowl contender. They're nowhere close right now. And so I would say the Kirk Cousins experiment failed in Minnesota. Now, game number 3, the Eagles beat the Lions 44-6. This is not about Philly, but Philly did have 236 yards rushing. Here's what I want to talk about. The Lions are 0-8. It's been awful this year. And I think if you're a Lions fan, your only focus right now is on drafting the Liberty quarterback, Malik Willis. You need somebody who can make big plays at the quarterback position. Like, you need a lot more than that too, but certainly Jared Goff is not the answer long-term in Detroit. And I want to remind you, remember all the people that were, there were a lot of people in the camp of saying that Matthew Stafford was the problem in Detroit. And those people who blamed Matthew Stafford for the years and years of losing in Detroit. Well, the Rams are 7-1 with Matthew Stafford. The Lions are 0-8. I don't know how, I just feel, at the end of this game, I'm watching Jared Goff get thrown to the ground, getting sacked again. And I just, the former Rams quarterback, Jared Goff, getting traded to Detroit. That trade happened. His life got turned upside down. Literally and figuratively, he was upside down getting sacked against the Eagles. Jared Goff, I just feel bad for the guy. He really got the short end of the stick. And he's not played great, but can you imagine going from a good football team in Los Angeles? I don't love LA. I like warm weather, though, now, a lot more than I used to. And I would rather live, would I rather live in LA or Detroit? I can't believe that's a decision I feel like I have to make. I feel like I'm the only person that would pick. I like the anonymity and the fact that Detroit is cheaper. But I got to say, man, like, for most people, if you're a superstar, most people would pick LA. Plus, you're winning games. So to go from LA and winning to Detroit and losing, what a horrible, horrible lifestyle change that is for Jared Goff. I just feel bad for the guy. Okay, let me drink some water real quick. Number 4, the Tennessee Titans beat the Indianapolis Colts in overtime, 34-31. This game was bad for everybody. Nobody really won. Like, the Titans did win the game, but the Titans lost their star running back, Derrick Henry. He got hurt. He's out for the year. That's potentially going to derail the entire year for Tennessee. And the Colts, actually lost. They lost the game, the final box score. So now the Colts, who were trying to save and revive their season. The Colts are now 3-5. They needed to win this game. They did not. It's a crushing blow for the Indianapolis Colts. And it was actually, weirdly enough, despite the outcome being bad for everybody, it was actually a pretty fun game. I mean, I thought that, like, just back and forth and scoring at the end of the game, going to overtime. Carson Wentz, the Colts quarterback, had 3 touchdowns, but he also had 2 costly interceptions that were painful, hard to watch. One in the fourth quarter, then one in overtime. I felt bad for him on the first interception. End of the fourth quarter, it was tie game, like a minute 30 left, 24-24, and he was getting sacked in his own end zone. And that's always a tough position. What do you do? Like, do you take a safety? You don't want to do that. And he's trying to throw the ball away to avoid a safety. And instead, he threw a pick six. And I'm not kidding when I say he's getting sacked. Like, he was literally getting taken to the ground. He's falling backwards. He throws the ball like left-handed, gets picked off, goes for a touchdown. It's brutal. Just really, like, he threw the ball as he got crunched by like 4 dudes. It's a brutal thing to watch. And you take a safety or throw a pick there. I mean, there's no good way to end that sequence of events. And I thought that it's unfortunate, throwing 2 interceptions at the end of the game and losing is such a bad way for Carson to kind of end that game. Because I just thought optically it looked bad, but what's not going to get mentioned is how good Carson's been playing all year until that moment. Like, there was even a moment where, like, he made a crazy play to get them. Remember, throws a pick six. They're now down 31-24. Like, the game went to overtime. So Carson led a touchdown drive that sent the game to overtime. Now, he threw another interception in overtime, which is even worse, I thought, than that one, because that was just a terrible decision rather than a guy trying to make a play. But, Carson, man, he's been playing so well, if you ask me. And last year, Carson Wentz only played in 12 games, and he led the NFL still with 15 interceptions. This year, Carson has 14 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. He's gotten way better at the quarterback position, way cleaner. He's not playing hero ball very much. I thought he did at the end of the Titans game. That's unfortunate. It's just sad that the progress Carson is making as a quarterback is not leading to them winning more football games in Indy. I'd like to see that happen. It's not happening, but Carson, I thought, despite the bad optics, he's been playing very, very well. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers just beat the Browns 15-10. And I'm not going to talk about Pittsburgh. I just want to talk about Cleveland because I had such high expectations for Cleveland, and now they're 4-4. It's not going well. The Browns are last in the AFC North. And clearly, it's very frustrating because there's very clearly so much talent in Cleveland. And seeing them lose game after game, it's painful to watch. Like, this is a better football team than 4-4. And they've had injuries. Baker Mayfield, their quarterback, isn't playing very well. I'll say this. First of all, I'm curious to see how the rest of the year goes. Like, can the Browns make the playoffs? I don't know. I look around the other 4-4 football teams. I think the Patriots are probably the best 4-4 football team in the AFC right now. But I wonder what might change as the year goes on. I mean, and then I wonder, like, after the year ends, what are the Browns going to do at the quarterback position? Do they stick with Baker? Do they move on? Do they keep Odell Beckham Jr.? Like, what moves are the Browns going to make in response to the year they're having now? A lot of that depends on the final 9 games of the year, but just, man, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, I'm so sorry. I had such high expectations. I'm sure you guys did too. You had a great roster during the preseason, and for one reason or another, you guys have just massively underachieved, and it's taken years off my life watching. It's just like, oh, man, I really thought the Browns were different this year, and then here we are, 4-4. Now, after losing to Buffalo, the Miami Dolphins are now 1-7. They've lost 7 games in a row in Miami. And it's kind of easy to forget. Remember when the Dolphins were a team that won 10 games last year? I mean, last year Miami was a playoff team. What? I forgot about that. I don't blame you. It's easy to forget. And remember, Miami also traded away their first round pick. So every time Miami loses a football game, they don't even have the comfort of going, well, we're terrible, but at least we got a top 5 pick. Oh, wait, no, you don't. They traded away their own draft pick to Philadelphia. So if the season ended today, Philly would have a top 5 pick because Miami's been bad. And now, Miami does have a 2022 first round pick in the upcoming NFL draft, but they have the 49ers first round pick, which will likely be like a mid first round pick. So Miami doesn't have the draft positioning to get a really top notch impact player that they might have been able to have if they kept their own draft pick. Miami's in bad shape right now. I mean, everything has gone wrong for them, and I can't think of a good thing to say about Miami. It's been all bad. One thing in particular that's been really, really terrible for Miami. It's not just been the play calling. It's been the entire offensive philosophy. Just bad, bland, not very creative, horrible play design. That I don't know what they're doing. It's embarrassing football to watch. And I'm like, I look at Miami and I go, surely you could do more. Like, surely there's better than, like, there are so many times I watch Miami and they run play action and they have literally 2 receivers downfield. And I'm like, what is that concept? Like, what are you doing with your quarterback? Why are you giving him 2 options to throw to? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. And Miami just is a tragic mess right now. They're 1-7 and there's no hope for better either. I mean, it's a really, really awful year they're having. And I thought that when I saw Brian Flores on the hot seat earlier during the preseason, I went, what are you talking about? How could Brian Flores be on the hot seat? And then I look at them now and I'm like, well, that's how. They're apparently terrible with him. I didn't expect that. Last year winning 10 games. This year they're 1-7. I just did not expect this at all. Number 7, the Patriots just beat the Chargers 27-24. I think the Patriots might be a playoff team based on what I've seen. The last 2 weeks, look, as their young rookie quarterback, Mac Jones, gets better and better, so do the New England Patriots. 2 games in a row now, Mac Jones has avoided a turnover. He's playing clean football. They're winning. Like, the Raiders are 5-2 right now. I'm not sure they can keep winning and stay in the playoff picture. I think they've got a lot going on off the field that will distract them. And then the 4 teams in the AFC right now that are 4-4, you've got the Cleveland Browns, Kansas City, Denver, and the New England Patriots. I think the New England Patriots are, the number 1 team that's 4-4 right now that's got a chance to, raise their standings in the AFC and get into the playoffs. And they're in the hunt right now. They're like the number 8 seed if the playoffs started today. I think the Patriots can elevate themselves up into a playoff spot. And I think of all the teams that are 4-4 right now, they have the best shot of doing that. And I think the Patriots, man, keep your eye on New England. They are a team that I think might get into a wild card spot in the AFC. Number 8, on Monday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the New York Giants 20-17. Man, this is a close game. And it was tied 17-17 near the end of the game. KC won with a field goal. But the reality right now is that Kansas City is struggling to beat teams like the New York Giants. And that's very, very telling. Sounds about right, I guess, based on what we've seen. But it's not a shock. It's just for anybody who hasn't accepted that the Chiefs are not what they have been in recent years. This game is kind of the perfect example of that. Patrick Mahomes played sloppy again. So did the Chiefs around him. Mahomes had an interception on the goal line. Travis Kelce had a fumble. The Giants dropped multiple interceptions. I mean, Patrick Mahomes should have had way more than just one in this football game. Now, ultimately, I'm glad that Kansas City won this football game. I think the Chiefs actually have a shot to salvage their season, where the Giants, win or lose, the Giants aren't going anywhere. So I'm glad. I'd like to see a world where I'm wrong and Kansas City does make it into the playoffs. But I think right now, I look at what they've got ahead of them. I think Kansas City is going to go 7-10 or 8-9. And I do not believe they are a playoff team. They got a bunch of tough games ahead. They play the Packers, they play the Raiders twice, they play the Cowboys, the Chargers, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Like, Kansas City right now is 4-4. And I don't know. I mean, winning 4 games from here on out, 4 more games of the next, 9, feels like a really big ask for Kansas City, and time will tell, but I am not confident at all in Kansas City's ability to make a playoff run this year.